If you've been a PC gamer for a few years, then there's one game that you'll most likely have heard of. Squad, a realistic tactical shooter that boasts an authentic combat experience for its players, putting you in places around the world as two militaries fight over points. But what if I told you this game isn't the first of its kind? And as a famous man once said, it's better to fail in originality than succeed in imitation. Welcome to Project Reality.
I'll be arriving shortly. Yeah, nice.
I was about to medic someone.
Project Reality is the game that inspired and created the game Squad as you know it, from the gameplay mechanics to the entire style of the game. Originally starting off as a mod for Battlefield 2, Project Reality has powered through years of new games, still keeping a healthy loyal player base by creating a place for players to get immersed in battles over a range of different countries and historical times such as modern day, Vietnam and World War II. Now, because I know the attention span of my viewers on YouTube is degrading faster than my mental and physical health, I'll nail this point across very quickly. This game is now standalone and free to play, which means if you want to try this game, you can download it right now, and you don't need a beefy 3060 to run it either. Project Reality functions off the three basic principles of communication, planning, and adapting. Putting 100 players in two teams and pitting them against each other, but in a realistic combat setting. There's no UAV showing you where the enemy is. Your squad leaders have to communicate between each other and mark where possible enemies and outposts are on the map. Guns are deadly, but a low skill squad that communicates can make a team full of try-hard FPS players turn into fertilizer. The game rewards teamwork unlike any other game. It's less effective you do better working as a team, and more you cannot function as a fighting force if you don't work as a team. Squads will dedicate themselves to armor, some dedicate themselves to recon, and others act more flexible attacking and defending objectives. If you don't want to have to walk the whole map back from your main base when you die, your team needs to get supplies dropped off in an area so you can set up a spawn point, also known as an FOB or forward operating base. If you spot an enemy FOB ahead, maybe a squad from your team should focus dismantling and disrupting that point, forcing them to have to build a new FOB somewhere more hidden and further into their backlines. This game is one big game of chess, while immersing you into intense battles with its great gunplay and sound design. Jumping into the atmosphere of the game, it truly is just captivating even for a game running off the refractor engine that Battlefield 2 was built on. Explosions and gunfire instinctively make you take cover, making suppression extremely useful. The community's friendliness and heavy emphasis on communication makes you really get invested in the squad's goals. Instead of feeling like this unstoppable, highly trained super soldier like you do in a lot of games these days, you regularly find yourself fighting for your life and anxiously scanning every single building and window. The only advantage that you have over a possible opponent is planning in your surroundings. Take this clip for example. My squad leader asked if I wanted to go on a recon mission while the rest of my squad fought over a point that was in a brutal stalemate. Sneaking through the city, we planted landmines on the main road to slow any squads possibly looking at fortifying the city, as that would soon be our next objective, while building up a small FOB in the forest nearby to allow the squad the ability to flank the enemy from behind. Lo and behold, we got to witness an enemy squad leader and his poor troops trigger a landmine, potentially stopping them from setting up defences early.
Yeah, let it cross. Nice. Knew it. I knew it.
The game doesn't need any flashy graphics or in-depth bullet simulation, or to force players to have shadows enabled at the cost of the player's FPS. All the game needed was damn good gameplay. A genius gameplay loop where no matter what map or factions, you'll never have a match that's the same. The players fully control how they fight and where they fight, with players being able to utilise building mechanics if they have the resources at an FOB, mortars, armour, vehicles, traps, multiple classes to add a variety to a squad that all only work well when they're together as a team, jets, helicopters, tools to scale buildings, and a commander on each team that's specific role is to complete that chain of command and manage all of the squad leaders who will then manage you. This game is elevated beyond its tags as a milsim game by not holding the player's hand. There's no prompts, no big HUD telling you what to do, you have to just rely on each other. True teamwork. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoy Squad, as does the majority of the Project Reality player base. While these two games are effectively related, I mean, just looking at the designs of the HUD and the whole concept of the game, it doesn't take a scientist to see the two games are hand in hand. There's one thing that sets the two games apart, and while I could just say the overused argument of you can't beat the classics, what sets them apart is Squad is a visually stunning game. It's pretty to look at and it immerses you in with its visually realistic and beautiful movie-like graphics and sound design. Project Reality immerses you with its gameplay, and Squad did a great job for the most part of replicating that gameplay, which is why the game's so popular. But Project Reality perfected that gameplay, and with its now much smaller player base, the community has a quality that's impossible to be matched by such a popular high player count game. It's much harder for Squad to be able to have quality in their servers, as they're unable to moderate and uphold the core principles of teamwork and communication the same way that Project Reality can with their much more niche loyal player base. Overall, I'd give this game a 10 out of 10. I can't recommend this game enough, and to say it's free and just a few clicks of a button away from trying it yourself, you'd be stupid not to. I'd like to give a big shout out to Unit 777. I highly recommend their servers and they have a truly wonderful friendly community. All the footage is from their servers, and if it weren't for the lovely people in this community welcoming me and teaching me how to play, I think it would have taken me a little bit longer to really appreciate the detail and perfection of this game. So, if you do find yourself trying out Project Reality and you're on their server, give them a big thanks from me. Who knows, maybe you'll find me on there playing myself. I hope you've enjoyed this review. This one took a little bit longer than the rest, and I hope the editing and the quality of the video show it. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe, as it really helps me out and just makes me happy seeing people are enjoying my videos. As always, just like this review, I've been Just Useless, and I'll see you next time. Farewell.